I'm Brianna Shigo. Welcome back to my Tuesday tips. Page 13 out of 26. We are halfway there, so let's get into it and get it over with. Letter C, items excluded from sale. This is continuing from last week's page where it talked about items included, like things fixed to the walls, like curtain rods and security doorbell systems and things like that. So now it's talking about things that are excluded, like furniture and TVs and such, unless specified otherwise. 10A, allocation of costs, inspections, reports, tests, and certificates. So this just reiterates that pages above where you had a whole section about allocation of costs where you said the buyer's going to pay for this, the seller's going to pay for this, etc., etc. It's just reiterating that, and it's also explaining that these inspections are different than any repairs that you and the seller might agree upon. So if you pay for the inspections, but the seller's going to pay for some kind of repair, you should add a separate addendum just to solidify that and have it in writing that the seller's going to pay for the repairs. Letter B, 1, government requirements and corrective or remedial actions, legally required installations, and property improvements. So things like smoke detectors and such, you also marked who would be responsible for what in the pages above, if you remember that section. And if the seller is handling all of that, which is typical that the seller would put up smoke detectors and everything, then they have to provide you with like receipt or something of putting it up, of purchasing it, just to prove to you that it has been done correctly. B2, point of sale requirements. This is if your home requires, if it's in a county that requires this government point of sale inspection, that it's to be done before escrow closes, obviously, and that the buyer should receive a copy of that inspection report. B3, reinspection fees. It says if any repair is not completed in the specified timeline and the lender needs like a reinspection, the seller is going to have to pay for that reinspection because it's their fault that that repair wasn't done. And then also any other charges that incur because of a seller lagging on something is the seller's responsibility to pay off. B4, information and advice on requirements. The buyer and seller should speak with a professional about whether or not state and local inspections, point of sale inspections are required for the property that they're buying. Letter C, home warranty. Typically how a home warranty works, in that section above of your actual purchase agreement where you're listing all your terms, and in that bottom right corner it said home warranty. So typically the buyer gets to choose the home warranty, and you would say, like, I use choice home warranty a lot. So I say choice home warranty, cost not to exceed $650, okay? I'm choosing what home warranty company I want to use, but I'm telling the seller that they're having to pay for it. They have to pay that up to $650 depending on when and if there's anything that needs to be done under the warranty, and if there's any cost above that $650, you as the buyer will pay for that. In regards to the home warranty, I want to add that it is fairly common for the seller and the seller's agent to come back at you with they want to choose the home warranty. It's not really a big deal, but I do see that happen a lot. So like if you get a counter offer to your offer and they're like, we want this home warranty, you don't have to panic. It's common. Last but not least, section 11, statutory and other disclosures, including lead-based paint hazard disclosures and cancellation rights. All of letter A talks about like the seller getting you the natural hazard disclosure, the NHD report, TDS, your transfer disclosure statement, supplemental disclosures, anything. The disclosures are basically anything and everything the seller knows about the property. They're putting it out there, they're signing it, they're saying, this is all I know, and you get to read everything and decide whether or not you still want to move on with purchasing the home. So that's page 13. Now we're more than halfway done. We only have 12 pages left after this. It's a lot of the same thing, but it's important, and I'm trying to break it down so that it's easier for you to understand, so that when it's your turn to buy a home, you can be like, oh, I know what all of this means, and it's not that intimidating because Brianna explained it to me. So, as always, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I would be more than happy to help.